So one of the things that we are absolutely passionate about at Amazon and AWS is the ability for us to focus on a real structured process around the interview process. We absolutely do not buy into the kind of the tea and biscuits approach, which is commonly adopted by startups, which really is basically an unprocessed, inefficient way to really get the best out of the candidate when you're interviewing. And so that's a real structured approach using like core competency-based questions that delivers real impact from the candidate of things that they've done in the past. So it's data-driven. It demonstrates that they've had impact in the past, because at Amazon we believe that past performance is a future indicator of somebody's future performance. And so that's, can the candidate really demonstrate impact in the past for them to show that they could do that for Amazon long term. So how we do it is we simply have a set of questions that are assigned to a particular competency. That competency would be one of the leadership principles, and it's really quite simple in the fact that we make sure that that candidate raises the bar in those core leadership principles that are assigned for that particular role. And each role would have its own priority leadership principles. They're all equally important from our perspective, but at the same time it's really difficult to assess against all 14, and so for us it would be, we would assess against a core number of those principles for the specific role.
Because chemistry is the most fundamental layer for me, then effectively you're trying to, if you like, compress or accelerate a natural human process, which might be, for example, falling in love with somebody, right? It might be, in the startup context, it might be really connecting with the mission that's worth solving. It might be, I want to go and build this company with these people. It's a feeling. There's the logical side of the decision, and then there's a feeling. And so what I think about is people tend to spend too much time thinking and worrying about what the process is in terms of the sort of hygiene of the meeting and the questions they're going to ask. They're going to interview far more than they're going to sell. At the front of the process, clearly there is a period where neither side has declared interest. And so at the beginning of the process, what you need to be doing is selling like your life depends upon it, because these people, quite frankly, have got lots of things that they could be doing. Now, the reason they're going to do it with this particular founder, this particular startup, is because they're overtly connected with the mission. They really want to build a company with these people. And so I kind of call it, if you like, the game changers experience. So when you're interviewing game changers, when you're putting them through a process, think about their experience. What you really want is when they've left your office and they're traveling home, that could be a flight or a train or in their car, are they really thinking, how the hell do I get into this company? That's the emotional experience that you want to be able to deliver. Or in other words, do they really go home and think, at which point are they going to work out that I don't want to sit in an office all day long, meeting several people? So it's getting that balance between formal and informal. It's getting that balance between face-to-face and going for a walk. It's getting the balance right between interviewing in a meeting room and going out for dinner, or making them a cup of tea in the company cafeteria where they get to see you operating with other people, just doing basic stuff that they would do at home. It's, I've never ever worn anything that remotely looks like a suit in an interview in 20 years. And partly the reason that is because I was hiring so many software executives at one particular time. They're all turning up in suits, and when they went back to their office, they'd think, I wish I worked in a company where I could just be myself. So it was a very differentiated experience compared to what they were used to. So, that to me is thinking about it. User experience, founder experience, game changer. It's being obsessive about the experience that they're having through the process.
Really, when it comes to the process for hiring, it's really three things, which are who do you need, which is leadership, debt and gap. Which search firm are you going to use to go find those people for you, and then what's the interview process. So if we talk first about leadership, debt and gap, it's something we talk about a lot in Notion, which is really when you're looking at your existing leadership team, who have you got in there, where are the debts and where are the gaps? When we talk about debt, what we mean really is, are the people in your existing leadership team, are they able to step up to the next level? So for example, your business is fundamentally European at the moment. Can your leadership team step up and take it into the US? Or if it's going from 1 to 10 million, then on to 10 to 25 million, can your leadership team do that stretch? Like, can they step up into a bigger shoes to fill, basically? versus the leadership gap, which is really if you look at everything from tech, product, ops over to the go-to-market piece, sales and marketing. Do you have any glaringly obvious actual spaces in there? Like you got a great CTO and you got a great CRO, but you just don't have anyone doing product. Is that a gap? So that's the first bit, is like look at on those two dimensions, debt and gap, and where are the most glaringly obvious spaces. And then the second part is to bring in a search firm. I think often search firms have got not great reputation for doing great work, and specifically because they charge a lot. But I think what we found here at Notion is if you find a really great search firm, they will do your world-class job, and they will find you candidates that you could not have found, and they'll educate you in the hiring process as well to help you get better and better about it, and to help you as a founder really understand why it is that you're hiring this person and why it's important to your business. And then the last thing is the interview process. So I wrote some interview guidelines, and I know that it's the questions that you ask and the structure in which you approach asking them is not the be-all and end-all. It is about the theatre and it's about the chemistry, but at the same time having the ability to really sense check properly, has this person done before what we need them to do in our business, and if they have, can they competently talk through it? Are they bringing stuff to us even in an interview that we hadn't thought of or that excites us in some sort of way? And then taking all that information and using a scorecard to benchmark that candidate against all the other candidates you've met. Really, so you don't give one particular candidate a specific chance to showcase their work that you don't give another one by accident, whereas this candidate actually maybe wasn't necessarily better than this candidate, but it wasn't a level playing field. So I think if you do those three things and you really assess who you need and what gaps and depths you need them to fill, bring someone, a professional on board to help you find candidates to fill those roles, and then make sure you assess everyone equally against each other. It's probably the process that I think is most important.